Okay, what are you saying, people, and welcome back to another live stream. Before we get into this, make sure you follow me on my Telegram channel. Left a link to that in the live chat and also the description below. Posting a lot of different trading setups there throughout the week, so make sure you go check that out. But like I said, got another live stream for you. Going to talk you through what's going in the charts today and see if you've got any opportunities coming our way. So first, we're going to start with AUD/USD. So for this pair right now, it's looking like we could be getting a move to the upside here. We've been stuck at this trend line here on the daily chart. If I connect these last three swing lows, you can see initial test there, second, third. So we're testing this trend line here right now on the daily and could be getting a nice bounce to the upside. You can see that the trend of this market is still to the upside. It looks like it is running out of steam, but again, price is still making higher highs and higher lows there in the market. So potentially could be getting a nice push to the upside, maybe even much further back to highs potentially if we do take out this daily resistance here in the market. So I do think we could be seeing a push up to around 0.78 for AUD/USD, maybe higher if price breaks through that level, but I do see price coming back to test that 0.78 level, which is this level going through the market there. You can see really nice resistance over here in the market. This is our previous swing high, pushes to the downside, giving us a new swing low, pushes back up, create new highs, came crashing back down, retest it, and now we're at that same trend line. So I do think price is going to see a nice bounce to the upside now for AUD/USD back into that 0.78 level, and potentially even further if you do see a break of that, potentially all the way back to highs and maybe even a higher high for AU. GPUSD for this pair, looks like we could be getting a bullish reaction as well. Price was stuck underneath this level, just consolidating a little bit. Looks like it was potentially going to break to the downside, but as you can see, we broke to the upside for GPUSD, and now we're back above that level. And also we do have that daily trend line as well. So if you take a look at the daily chart here, looking at these swing lows here, so initial test there, second, third, fourth. Now we're having our fifth test of that same trend line. So potentially could see a really nice bounce to the upside again for GPUSD. On the 4 hourly time frame, we're getting that nice test, that trend line, again breaking back above that previous resistance for us there in the market. So resistance, support, support, resistance, now going to be acting as support. So potentially could be seeing a retest of this level as support and then the continuation back up again. If you break above this resistance here, which sent us down twice, I think price is probably going all the way back to highs, back up to 1.42, maybe even 1.43, and see a new high there for GPUSD. But for now, we're breaking back above that area, holding that daily trend line. Could be seeing a nice swing back up to 1.4, back into this resistance here for GPUSD if we do hold that area. USD/CAD is looking very, very bearish now, but still holding that support though, so could see a bullish reaction, but momentum looks like it's going to take us to the downside. You can see we just broken through this trend line here in the market, which has us kind of consolidating, moving sideways a little bit to the upside, very, very corrective. Now we've broken through that trend line, so it looks like price wants to go and break through this support. Again, this is a very, very strong support here in the market. Test it once, twice, third time, fourth, broke to the upside, testing as resistance, and now hovering as support. So very key level. I believe if you do break this level, USD/CAD is back to lows again, back to 1.25 and potentially all the way down to 1.24, because again, the structure of this market and the higher time frames, monthly, weekly, daily, is all still very, very bearish here for USD/CAD. So could easily see another continuation to the downside for this pair. So this break of the trend line looks like could take us to the downside. Again, still has that support which hasn't broken yet, but the momentum is in its favor. So if you do get a break, could see a retest of that as resistance and then the continuation to the downside back to lows. And if we take out lows, could be testing 1.24 for USD/CAD. If we do hold this level, however, and get back above that trend line, this could just be another false break, testing that support, getting back above, and then from there could see a bigger continuation to the upside. But right now, I'm not really favoring that move there. Obviously, it could happen, but I still think the move to the downside is a little bit more likely. See a break of that support and a move back into lows for USD/CAD. USD/JPY, expecting to see a bearish move now for this pair. As you can see, we're very, very extended here on the 4 hourly chart, even the daily as well to the upside. Price has been on a very, very bullish run here for USD/JPY. I believe now we are coming into a very strong weekly trend line here in the market. So if I connect the high points here in the market, so you can see initial test there, second, third, and now we just had our fourth test of this trend line all the way from 2016. So very strong trend line, has been in the market for some time now, and now we've just had our fourth test of this trend line. So could definitely be seeing a reaction from this trend line now to the downside, and potentially you can see a really nice drop, because you can see previously when we do test that trend line, we do see really nice reactions to the downside for USD/JPY. So I'm favoring a push to the downside now for USD/JPY. Could see the market drop potentially to around this sort of area here. This is kind of where we were losing momentum, and then prices just shot to the upside and started flying all the way up to 109. So I do think we could see a nice drop, maybe back to 107 for USD/JPY, or maybe even 106,500 potentially. But my bias is the downside for this pair. Again, if you start taking out that trend line, we could actually be seeing a breakout. But as long as we stay below, I think USD/JPY is on its way back down, at least to retrace some of its move that we've seen to the upside for that pair. USD/CHF, again, similar to this one, very bullish recently, big push to the upside, breaking through many key levels here in the market. You can see this is a very key level of resistance, and actually broke above that area. So potentially could be having a bit of a false breakout, since how overextended the market is. Could actually see just a couple of days bring us back down, back underneath that level, then see a bigger move to the downside. But right now price is looking bullish here on the daily, but I think on the 4-hourly we'll start to turn to the downside. You can see nice bearish candles there in the market. We do have to be aware of this support here, so this could provide another push to the upside, but if it doesn't and we see price break back underneath, it will be acting as a really strong resistance, and from then we could be expecting USD/CHF to fall much further, because you see last time here on the daily we had a really nice bearish reaction to the downside all the way to 0.9 from that level, which is around 0.92. So if we do get above that, back below that level, could actually see a really nice move, maybe back into this trend line here. So USD/CHF, I'm favoring move to the downside, but we do need to get back below that level there for V, because right now it will be acting as support and could potentially take us higher up, so you need to watch out for that. Eurogbp for this pair, again very choppy right now, moving sideways essentially. Looks like price wants to break to the upside, and if it does, potentially back to highs again. You can see we've got this consolidation here with this kind of box here, and it looks like we could be seeing a breakout there to the upside. Looks like price has just managed to close above on that 6 a.m. candle 3 candles ago. The 10 a.m. candle looks like it was retesting it, and then this candle could take us to the upside, back to the highs again, back to 129, actually 130, actually potentially even higher than that, because again the direction of this market is very much to the upside here on the daily, weekly and the monthly chart. So could see price continue a lot further. You can see even on the daily there isn't much indication that the market is looking to turn around just yet anyway. Just a lot of consolidation, and if you break to the upside, could see price back to highs again, and potentially even further than that, because again the bullish direction is all across the higher time frame, so could see price go a lot further. Next, we're going to take a look at GPJPY. So GPJPY again still very bullish. We haven't really seen that much of retracement in this pair here, especially from the higher time frame point of view, like the weekly. Still have not seen a bearish week since, all the way back down here. Price has just been rallying to the upside, breaking through resistance. So price is very bullish here on the higher time frames. It is due to see a bit of retracement soon, but very hard to call, since how bullish the market is right now. And even from a daily point of view, we don't really have much evidence of the market slowing down really. We've seen some little bit of pullbacks, but price is still very bullish. Even on the 4-hourly, you can see we are losing momentum a little bit, but price is still creating higher highs, higher lows, still respecting this trend line here in the market. So really there's not much indication that we are slowing down yet. So again, very difficult market if you're looking to sell it. Again, buys, just buying the pullback could be very effective right now for GPJPY, but again from the weekly point of view, it definitely does look like the market is overextended, and we're due to see a bearish week sooner or later. So again, I'm not too sure how long this bullish run will last from now on. But if you were to see a bit of a bigger retracement, we could be seeing a really nice drop to the downside for GPJPY when it is ready. But right now, the market is still very bullish. And again, not really interested in looking to short the pair just yet. Right now, still very bullish above this trend line. Could easily see a pull back into here and then continuation back up again, because again you can see we're just taking out those recent swing highs, so this will be acting as support and could take us much higher there. Next, we'll take a look at NZD-USD. So NZD-USD similar to AUD-USD. We've seen a really nice bullish reaction recently. Market's been slowing down. I believe we are holding a really nice area of support here in the market. So take that area across there. Dipped into that area quite nicely. We are testing that. Could be seeing a continuation to the upside. However, for this one, we have actually broke through a trend line here in the market. So you can see here multiple tests, first, second, third, fourth, fifth. We've actually broken through that trend line. So as the USD could actually just be pulling back in order for a bigger move to the downside. If you get back above that trend line and back above this level of resistance here in the market, if I just draw a line for that area. So again, this is our previous swing high, retest it before it fell to the downside. If you get back above this area, price is likely to continue back to highs again. Potentially going to test 0.75 or potentially even higher. But right now we have broken through that trend line. We're back below those recent swing highs. So it does look like NZD-USD could just be retracing to continue much further. But if it doesn't and we see an impulse move back up again with potentially US dollar weakness, could actually take us back above this resistance here, and from then on we could actually see price go a lot further to the upside, and this move here could just be a false breakout of that trend line. So need to be aware of both sides of what could happen here. But if that trend line does act as resistance, could easily send us back down all the way back down to 0.7 or maybe even further. Next we're going to take a look at NZD-CAD. So NZD-CAD, who had a really nice drop to the downside for this pair, expecting to see a bit of retracement now to the upside. You can see how extended we are. We are coming to this area of support as well. So if I just highlight this area, so we are coming into this support, which did have a bit of consolidation, then we shot to the upside. So I'm expecting to see a bit of a bullish reaction now for NZD-CAD back to the upside. We do have this level I do think price could come to, so retest the area and then we fall back to the downside after that, after retracing, or maybe get above that area and see a bigger push to the upside. But right now for NZD-CAD, I'm favoring a bit of retracement and then another push to the downside. So could be looking for capitalizing on the long trade back up, or capitalizing on the short trade back down there. Get above that area though, I might be changing my bias a little bit for NZD-CAD. But overall, I'm favoring the bearish view for this pair. Again, we have also taken out this trend line here as well, so similar to NZD-USD, which I just looked at. So again, we do have the confluence of the trend line and the resistance. Get above the trend line and the resistance will be acting as support. So then we'll probably have a false breakout at that point. But for now, expecting to see a bit of retracement back into this area, and then could be seeing a further continuation back down again for NZD-CAD, and actually see that go even a lot further, since from the higher time frames it does look like the market is looking like it's losing its bullish momentum and could be turning back bearish here even on the daily and the weekly time frames. Next we'll take a look at Eurogbp. So Eurogbp, this market has been very bearish for a long time now. It is due a bit of retracement to the upside, but we are still below this weekly support here in the market. So previous support, nice bullish reaction there. Back underneath, looks like that bullish candle just retested that as resistance and could see the continuation to the downside. I'm not sure how far it could fall though, because we do have this kind of area here, previous resistance, which did roll over to the downside. Price broke above it, and now we are retesting that as support. So we're kind of trapped between two levels of resistance and support here for Eurogbp on the weekly, which does give us a nice range to work with on the lower time frames, like the daily and the 4 hourly could be trading in between them. So if you do get some nice bullish reactions from that level, you could actually see a nice push back up to that level from a weekly point of view, and then we could just be waiting for a breakout to see which way price could be trending in. If you break to the upside past this level, again could be seeing a really nice bullish trend. Break to the downside past this level down there, could be seeing price break a lot further and just continue that overall bearish trend here for Eurogbp. But for now, looks like price is coming back down to that support there. If you do see a bullish reaction, could see price go a lot further to the upside and maybe even go test 0.87 or maybe even further if you do see a breakout for Eurogbp. Next, going to take a look at Euro NZD. So Euro NZD Again, for this one, just a lot of consolidation right now. Overall trend for this one is still very much to the downside. You can see here on the daily, it is losing its steam, but price is still making lower lows, lower highs. Still respecting this trend line here in the market on the daily time frame. And on the 4 hourly, we mainly just got consolidation there. We do have this trend line, which is keeping us in a little bit of an uptrend, a little bit of higher lows there in the market. But I do believe if we do see a break of this trend line here for UNZD, could actually take us all the way back down to lows again and potentially test 1.63 area, or maybe even further if you do go and break this trend line, because it does look like the market is losing so much momentum there to the upside. Very corrective, and if you see a nice impulsive break, could wait for a bit of retracement and then look to take that down all the way back to lows again, or potentially even further. It does look like the market is struggling to get above this resistance here, so could just see the market consolidate between that area, the resistance and the trend line. On the other hand, if you do go and break through the resistance, could be seeing an impulsive move to the upside, and then probably see a reversal at that point, because we'll be breaking through that daily trend line. But if you do see that break to the downside, I'm favouring price to come back to lows again, all the way back down to 1.63 and potentially even further than that, because again, the higher time frames, daily, weekly, and even monthly as well, is still very much pointed to the downside for that pair. So I could see the market go a lot further. Next, we'll take a look at Cad Jpy. So Cad Jpy, this market is still very bullish here. It's looking like it's continuing a lot further. Recently, we've had a weekly close above this resistance here in the market. So really nice area of resistance, key level. You can see the bearish reactions we've had from this level. It's actually closed above it last week, and actually could be seeing a breakout. And if this is a breakout, could see price come all the way to these highs there. So in that case, we could actually see price just continuing to the upside all the way to that level all up there, which is around 88.3. So again, if that's the case, it can be looking to trade those pullbacks. The market is losing its steam right now, so I'm expecting to see a pullback sooner or later. And when we do, could be looking to capitalize on that back up again and see if you can ride price all the way up to 88.3. Because from the weekly time frame, it looks like having a breakout, and from there we could be seeing the trend just continue to the upside for Cad Jpy. However, again, we're at highs now. It's not really wise to buy the market just now on the H4 time frame anyway, because we could be seeing a bit of retracement to the downside at any time. So waiting to see if the market can move to the downside, retrace a little bit, then look to continue that on further. Because again, I do think from the high time frame point of view, it looks like Cad Jpy is still on its way up, and could see it continue for a number of weeks to the upside there for Cad Jpy. EURUSD currently in the buy position, looking for a move to the upside for this pair. Again, we've come to a really key level here on the daily and the weekly time frames, looking to capitalize on that. If I go to the weekly, you can see where we are in the market. Nice area of previous resistance here was the previous weekly resistance when we were trading this area. Broke above it, now we are retesting as support. So if we do hold this area, which I'm expecting price to do so, we could be seeing a nice bullish reaction and see price potentially continue this overall bullish trend and see another leg to the upside, back up to highs, and potentially test 1.24 for EURUSD. So that is what I'm looking for. That's what I'm expecting for this pair. I've just gotten on that 4 hourly candle there that closed at 10 AM. So looking to see if we can get a nice move to the upside. Again, I'm not sure if I'll ride it the whole way to the upside, but again, we do have this key level of support here in the market, which I'm looking to see if we can get a nice test of. Initial test there, second, third, fourth. See if we can get a nice test of that level, potentially even a breakout potentially. So if I connect this area here, so first, second, could be looking at third test of that trend line up there. But nonetheless, looking for a swing to the upside now for EURUSD. We're testing that weekly resistance that I was talking about in my weekly analysis. And I do think if you do hold this area, could potentially be seeing a reversal to the upside for EURUSD and price come all the way back to highs again. Obviously, there's a chance we could actually break through this area and then expect further continuation to the downside. But for now, since we're trading above it, I'm expecting to see a nice bounce to the upside and see price potentially reverse and become bullish again for EURUSD here on the longer time frame. So looking for a move to the upside now for EURUSD. Stop loss is just below that previous that previous low there. If price does go and break through that support, I will exit the trade and take the loss. But if we do see a swing to the upside, looking to see if we can ride it all the way up to around this area here, which is around 1.20330, so around that level there, or maybe even 1.21 potentially, because if this is going to be a reversal on the higher time frames, it could really take off and see EURUSD come all the way back up to 1.24, back up to highs, and see some higher highs as well. So looking for that move there in the market. And last, I'll do gold. Okay, so gold, again, similar to EURUSD, could potentially be seeing a reversal for this pair as well. Again, we'll come to test a really key level here on the daily chart. So you can see this trend line here, initial test there. Second, it looks like we just had our third test on that level, and actually could be seeing price continue a lot further to the upside, and maybe even see price test 1780 maybe for gold back into this level here, because you didn't really get a retest there. So support could be retesting that as resistance and see price go a lot further maybe, because if we do have a nice reaction from that level, could be looking at price coming back all the way up to that trend line up there. So first test, second, third, and potentially be seeing a bigger move for gold all the way up to that level potentially. So got that in mind here, but I've come to a really key level there on the daily time frame. Also, if I take this along as well, you can see we've actually come to test this level here, and if I just highlight this area, you can see all resistance there, big moves to the downside, then broke above, now testing a support, big moves to the upside as well. So very key level that I am buying from here with that confluence of that trend line. Now I'm expecting to see price go a lot further to the upside there for gold as well. So expecting move to the upside for gold and EURUSD. Again, if we do see a weak dollar, then both move in the direction to the upside. But if you do see a strong dollar, the likely chances they could both fail as well. So looking for a move to the upside there. EURUSD, see if we can hold that weekly level for that pair, and can see price go a lot further. So again, we could be seeing price retrace a little bit, because again, that is a very big candle there on the USD on the 4-hourly time frame. So if I was going that hourly or even 30 minutes, you could see price retrace a little bit to the downside, but I still expect to see price go further to the upside there. Again, we did break below that key level of support previously, so it could look to get back above that area and see price continue a lot further. But my bias right now for EURUSD is very much to the upside. I'm expecting price to continue unless you go and take out some levels along here, which is what I'm buying from. So if you do take that level, I'll exit my trade and just reevaluate EURUSD from then on. But right now, expecting that move to the upside for EURUSD, and potentially could go a lot higher. Again, if we do break for that support, we'll just close the trade and then just reevaluate EU from then on. But so currently in that EURUSD long trade, can see how that gets on. If anyone else is in any trades or wants me to take a look at any different pairs, just drop it in the live chat, and I'll make sure I'll give you some analysis on those pairs or on your trades if you want any questions or my opinions on anything. But yeah, just going to see how EURUSD gets on. Keep an eye out on some other pairs as well, see how they get on. Yeah, I'll take a look at USD JPY. So yeah, USD JPY, as I was saying earlier, I do expect to see a move to the downside now for this pair. We've actually come to test a really key weekly trend line that has been intact for a long time now. So this is the weekly time frame. If we connect those highs up there, so initially test there, second, third, now we're testing right now for a fourth test of this trend line all the way from 2016 June. So really key trend line. You can see when we are testing this trend line, we do see very big bearish reactions. So I'm expecting to see a nice bearish reaction for USD JPY, since we are definitely very overextended here on the higher time frames of the daily and the weekly. I'm expecting to see a little bit of retracement now for this pair, because again, we are testing that weekly trend line, but as you can see here, we're very overextended to the upside as well. Our last proper retracement was over here. We had a bit of a bearish candle, but again, not much retracement there. So the market is definitely in need of some retracement, relieve itself to the downside. So I'm favouring for a move to the downside for JPY, potentially back into 107, which is this area here. As you can see, this is where we were losing momentum, and then we suddenly just gained some momentum and flew to the upside. So I'm expecting to see a nice push to the downside, maybe back into this same area, potentially further as well. If we do respect that weekly trend line, could go a lot further, but nonetheless, this is the 4 hourly time frame, expecting to see a drop to the downside to around 107, maybe even 106,500 as well. GBP USD, so for that pair, yeah, I was expecting to see potentially could be seeing a move back to highs again for this pair. So if you take a look on the daily, we're testing a really nice trend line here in the market. So initially test there, second, third, fourth. Now we're testing this trend line for a fifth test. So if you do respect this trend line, could easily see price back at highs again. On the 4 hourly chart, we had this key level going through the market here. So prior resistance, support, really nice move to the upside, support there again. Consolidation just between that trend line and that resistance. We popped to the upside, and now it looks like retesting that area as support. So I'm favoring for a move to the upside for GPUSD. If we do get above this level, however, get above that level, which is around 1.39800, I would say, okay, we'll just round up to 1.4. Get above that level, could see price come all the way back to highs, back up to 1.42, potentially 1.43 as well for GPUSD. So I think the key level to break is that resistance there for us to say, yeah, price has a good chance of getting all the way back to highs. Again, back above this level does give us a sign, because it's showing prices holding that trend line and getting back above that area. But we could just be having a range between that resistance and that support, like we did earlier on before we break to the downside. So I'm expecting to see a move to the upside for GPUSD, but until we break through that, I wouldn't say price is going back to highs yet. Break through that 1.4 level there, then yeah, I'll be quite confident GPUSD is going back to highs. But for now, could expect to see a bit of a range between that resistance and that support there in the market. And if you do break below that trend line, could actually see the market go in the opposite direction. But for now, expecting to see a move to the upside for GPUSD, back into 1.4, break 1.4, could see price come all the way back to highs 1.42, and at that point probably see some new highs at 1.43 there. So yeah, it does look good to buy for GPUSD. Probably want your stop loss below that consolidation, below that trend line though. So around this level here, around 1.37500, I would say, which is just around there. So yeah, could be seeing a really nice push to the upside for that one, because again, that level will be acting as support. But just be aware of 1.4, because it could send price back down against you, and maybe even see price reverse. Get above that area, could look to hold on it for a lot longer and see price come back to highs. But there's some confidence here. Again, really key level of support there in the market on the 4 hourly chart. And again, we're at that daily trend line there as well, which we're testing for a fifth time. So if we do hold this trend line, there's a good possibility we could be seeing price come back to highs. So it does look good to buy for GPUSD. And personally, I'm in a EURUSD buy as well, which does move similar to GPUSD. So I'm expecting to move to the upside for EURUSD. So again, expecting to see a move to the upside again for GPUSD as well. So yeah, looking good for a move to the upside. Potentially could be coming back to highs if you do see a break and hold of 1.4. So yeah, currently in EURUSD, going to see how that trade gets on. Yeah, short NZJPY as well. Okay, so NZJPY for this one, 4 hourly time frame. Again, a lot of consolidation here for NZJPY. Very unclear here, but if we do break out of this consolidation, however, it does get a lot clearer for us, because again, you can see the nature of this market. If I go on the daily, very much to the upside, very, very strong. Ever since we took out this resistance here in the market, retested it, we've just been in this continuous semi-choppy trend to the upside. So price is still looking very bullish on the higher time frames. So if I go back to the 4H, if you do break to the upside, it does get a lot clearer, and probably expect price to come back to highs again for NZJPY. If we break, hold, do expect price to come back to 79, potentially further for NZJPY. Break to the downside, however, again, not too sure if you will get a reversal there. I think we do have this trend line here in the market we need to be aware of. So again, on this NZJPY time frame, on this NZJPY pair here, so again, if I just make it a little bit clearer, so again, multiple tests of this trend line all across here, had a little bit of a test there. So again, if you do break through that consolidation to the downside, might give us a bit of a sign that price wants to reverse. Again, probably be a bit more wary about taking reversals here for NZJPY since the trend is so strong, even in the higher time frames like the weekly and the monthly. But if you do see a break to the upside, which is what I'm favoring, could actually see price come back to highs, back to 79, and potentially a lot further. So for this pair, I'll probably wait to see a breakout first, because a lot of the price action here is very unclear, just a lot of consolidation, and get quite hard to work out a good trading opportunity in that environment for NZJPY. So probably wait for price to break out, come for a retest, and then look to continue that market to the upside back to highs again, and you have a good chance, a good probability of price coming to highs if you do see a breakout to the upside of that consolidation. So that's what I'm expecting for NZJPY. Break to the downside, again, not too sure about that one, probably have to evaluate it if it does do that, but I'm favoring for price to break to the upside, look for a retest, and could see a really nice buying opportunity back up to highs for that pair. So I hope that analysis helped. So yeah, just going to see how Eurosd gets on. We'll keep an eye on some other pairs as well. And again, guys, if you want me to analyze any different pairs, just keep dropping it in the live chat. I'll make sure I'll give you some analysis on those pairs. Okay, so we'll take a quick look at gold. Okay, so for gold, like I said earlier, I do expect to see a continuation to the upside now for this pair. It looks like we're breaking out of this trend line here for gold. So initial test there, second, third, fourth. Looks like we are breaking out of that trend line for gold. We've come to a really strong area here on the daily chart as well. So again, This is a really key level of resistance and support. So you can see really nice resistance, fell to the downside, then acted as support once, twice, third time, then lifted off all the way back to the highs up to 2000. So price was looking very bullish from this support here. So now we'll come back to test that same area. We've also got the confluence of this trend line here as well. So first, second, now testing again for a third time. Looks like we're breaking out of that trend line here on the 4-hourly time frame. So I'm favoring a move to the upside here for gold, back up to 1780, potentially even further if we get above that level, because again it was acting as really strong support. You can see first test there, nice push up, second test there, nice push up. So again, it is a very strong area of support. So could be seeing a move into that level there as previous support, now term resistance. Get above that level, however, could see a price come all the way up to this level around 1900 potentially, and go and test that trend line there. So for gold, I'm favoring a move to the upside. Might see a bit of retracement, come and test that level again as support to confirm the breakout. If it does hold, that's confirming the breakout, and see price continue. So yeah, I'm favoring a move to the upside for gold. So it looks like we're breaking out that trend line and seeing price holding that key level of daily support. So as long as we stay above that daily support, favoring a move to the upside for gold into 1780. Break above that level, which is this level here, could go a lot further. So expecting to see a push to the upside now for gold, could go a lot further. Maybe break below that level, however, might need to reevaluate that, because could be giving us a sign that price wants to move a lot lower for gold. So we'll have to take a look at that if that does happen. But right now, it does look like gold is holding that level. So expecting to see a nice push to the upside for this pair. So yeah, I hope that analysis helped. Okay, so you're going to take a quick look at Gpusd. So yeah, for this one, my bias was to the upside for Gpusd. This is the 4-hourly time frame. You can see we're holding a really key level here in the 4H. So we got nice resistance over here, support, really nice push to the upside, support there again. Bit of consolidation just below it, acting as resistance. And we also have this daily trend line here as well. So you can see on the daily time frame initial test there, second, third, fourth, and now we're testing that same trend line there again for a fifth test. So again, my bias is to the upside. Daily time frame is pointing up, 4-hourly time frame is pointing up, and you can see in the 4H we're testing that same support again, and we're starting to pull back up. If we go in the hourly time frame, see it a little bit better. So it looks like if we're holding this area, could see a really nice push to the upside. We're just seeing price break to the upside, retest that same area, form a resistance, now as support, and then could be seeing a continuation to the upside. But I do expect potentially price to come and test that 1.4 area, which if I zoom out a little bit, you can see this key level resistance there. So I do think we could be having a little bit of a range here for Gpusd between this level here of support, which is around 1.38, 500 or so, all the way up to 1.4. So I think could be in for a really nice swing to the upside there for Gpusd if we do hold that area, and the breakout could take us a lot further. But for now, it looks like we're holding this key area after that consolidation, breaking to the upside, coming back down for a retest. I think Gpusd could be on its way to the upside here, all the way up to 1.4 potentially. Okay, so I'm going to take a look at GPJPY. Okay, so for this pair, again, still looking very, very bullish here. If we jump to actually 30 minutes. So yeah, still looking very, very bullish here for GPJPY. I think we could still see further movement to the upside for this pair. It looks like currently we are retracing. You see the price action there is very, very corrective. You see it in very impulsive move to the upside there, and as we're coming down, it's very corrective. A lot of bearish, bullish candles bunched together. So it does imply, giving us signs that we could be seeing another continuation back to highs and potentially again even a higher high, just continuing those higher lows, higher highs. So we have broken through this kind of a semi-major swing high here in the market for GPJPY here on the 30 minutes. So really nice resistance. You can see really sharp move to the downside. Price was underneath it for quite a few candles there. Finally broke above it recently, and it looks like we could be coming back down to retest it since our corrective price is. So maybe we might see another push to the downside test in that area, but because of how corrective it is, we could see prices take off to the upside without quite testing that resistance. But again, as long as price stays above this resistance, now turns support, so just above this area, above 150.6, I would say. Above that area, I think GPJPY is back to highs again, and probably testing 151,500 potentially as probably the next level past that recent swing high there. So I think for this pair, we're coming back to highs again. Might see further correction to the downside, so be a little bit aware of that. So if you are looking to buy maybe a stop loss below that level is probably most safest, most conservative, because again we could come back, retest that area before coming back up, and you can see the bearish reaction we get from this level is quite nice. So if we do hold that level, could be seeing equal bullish reaction to the other side. I really see price takeoff for GJ, but bias is to the upside for GJ on the 30-minute time frame. It looks like we're going to see a really nice push to the upside, judging by how that price action is looking there. And as long as we stay above that level, I do think we're coming back to highs and probably be seeing a higher high for GPJPY as long as we stay above that. I think we do have a bit of a trend line if I connect these swing lows here, price. So yeah, initially a test there, bit choppy price action there, but if I connect that as well, looks like we're testing that for a third time. So bit of a trend line there, extra confidence. So yeah, bias is to the upside for GJ. I think the key thing here is not necessarily the trend line, but this level, because if we do get underneath it, we'll be acting as resistance, and we could be seeing equal reaction to the downside, similar to what we had here. So biases to the upside as long as we stay above that level, expecting price to come back to highs and potentially even higher. So again, hope that analysis helped. Okay, so it's just gone 12 p.m, so I'm going to wrap up the live stream, doing a quick rundown of some of the pairs I looked at earlier and also my current trade as well. So AUD again having a bounce of that daily trend line there. So again, initially test there, second, third, having a nice bounce there. I think we could be seeing a move back up to 0.78, so this key level resistance here, back up to that level. If we do hold, could be seeing back down again, just a bit of consolidation between that resistance and that trend line. Break that resistance, price is probably going to come back to highs, back up to 0.8 and potentially even further, because again the higher time frames are still pointing to the upside, so it could get that extra kick in that direction. But for now, expecting to see a push to the upside up to 0.78 for AUD into that level if we do hold this trend line. Gpusd expecting a move to the upside as long as we hold this level here in the market. So again, really nice resistance there, support there as well, support, resistance. Now we're back above there, acting as support. So it could be just be retesting that level for a nice continuation back up again. We do have that daily trend line. So if I zoom out, you can see on the daily, first, second, third, fourth, and now we're having our fifth test there on the daily chart. So again, as long as we hold that area, could be seeing a really nice push up to 1.4. This key level resistance there, break above that. I probably expect price to come back to highs at that point and just see a continuation of that overall bullish GPUSD trend to the upside. So for now, expecting a push to the upside as long as we hold into that level. Looks like price is retesting it to continue to the upside for that pair. USD CAD, expecting to see it move to the downside. We've broken through that trend line there. We haven't yet broken through this key level of support on the 4H. You can see price has tested this level numerous times here in the market, so really key level. I believe if we do break through this level, which I think is quite likely since we have broken through that counter trend line there, price is likely to come back down to lows, back to 1.25. Break through that, could see price create some new lows, 1.24, because again, that higher time frames, again, still pointing very much to the downside for USD CAD. USD Jpy, expecting to see the market slowly reverse to the downside now, finally take a breather after seeing a very strong push to the upside all the way up to 109. Price is currently testing a really strong weekly level, weekly trend line actually. So if I zoom out a little bit, you can see again, like I was talking about earlier, really key weekly trend line, which have 3 prior tests to it, and we're having a 4th test now. So if you do hold this area, could be seeing a really nice push to the downside now for USD Jpy, and like I said, could be targeting 107 potentially, or maybe 106 500 depending if you do see a nice weak dollar. And USD for this one, again, starting to pull to the downside, similar to USD Jpy in terms of being very overextended to the upside, expecting to see a bit of a breather now and a reliever of price. However, we are above a key level here on the daily time frame, so you can see a key level resistance. Really nice bearish reaction there prior in early September, back above it now, so will be acting as support, but potentially could have been a bit of a false breakout right now, because again, very strong close above, an equal strong close back below does signify we're having a bit of a false breakout there, and could actually see a really nice reaction to the downside there. So I think USD could be on its way back down, but we do need to break through that level that price is currently heading towards right now, because if it doesn't and it holds, could easily see another bullish reaction for USD and price continue to the upside. But if you do have that weak dollar, we could be seeing a nice break of that level, and if it gets underneath, we'll be acting as resistance, and from then on could see a really nice drop to the downside for this pair. So bias is to the downside, but we do need to break through that level right there. And EURUSD currently in the long trade for this one, looking for a push to the upside, come to a really key level on the higher time frames, at the daily and the weekly. You can see prior resistance here, now turn support, buying from that level, see if you can get a nice turn to the upside, and see if you can get a nice continuation of that bullish trend here for EURUSD. So expecting to see a nice push to the upside here, buying down the 4-hourly time frame. If you do go and break through that support, I will exit the trade and reevaluate, because potentially could actually see price go a lot further in the opposite direction to the downside. So I will be looking at that potential. But for EURUSD, biases to the upside, we're holding that support, had a really nice reaction there on the 4-hourly time frame, looking for a move to the upside for this pair now, and see if you can target around 1.2 or maybe 1.21, potentially even further than that, depending how bullish EURUSD becomes. But so yeah, looking for a move to the upside. We'll be still probably in this trade again for my live stream tomorrow, so make sure you're there to check that out. But thanks again for watching. I hope you found this useful and you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like the video and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. But thanks again for watching, and until the next one, I will see you guys later.